Hey everyone, welcome to Morethanmeetstheseguys. This podcast is a journey through Transformers from the beginning of the animated series with three old friends coming at it from different perspectives. Together we will go episode by episode with the occasional extra to look at how the show holds up or if it's a trap of nostalgia. We'll look at all things involved in the episode, whether there are real world factors that crept into the writing or the episode is typical afternoon cartoon fodder. I'm Evan, I'm the lifelong fan who's all familiar with all aspects of the franchise and the fandom, while Ed was never really familiar with too much of it. He knew the show, but was really nothing. He got it in. Jehu is here right in the middle. And guys, how's it going?
I'm doing well. I was having some computer issues, like updates running, and so while I was waiting for that, I was building a thing for Warhammer, and so I'm kind of I've been inhaling fumes from glue for the
Nice.
last couple of minutes. So if I'm loopy, I'll apologize in advance.
Perfect.
Um, yeah. So Jehu, what's happening with you?
Nothing really to report. I guess I should report on my eye patch. Like, that's not a bit. I have an issue with my left eye that acts up sometimes, but basically turns everything into it like a funhouse mirror.
Oh,
So it's just better to block it out than try to deal with it.
I thought you've
Particularly
been
when
playing a lot
I
of.
have notes I need to read.
I figured you had been like playing a lot of like Yakuza, and you were just a big fan of like Majima from Yakuza.
the
I don't know if
star
you
down
guys.
below the patch.
Um, but I don't know like to bring up current events. But first off, R.I.P. James Earl Jones.
Man, no kidding, right?
What?
That literally like just got announced like right before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, Evan. I thought
man.
you I thought you knew. I thought you had seen that.
Man, I'm like fighting like the flu or something. So I just downed a glass of rum and I'm drinking Red Bull to try to keep going. I'm not, I'm not hip to what's going on, but that's terrible.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
wasn't
man.
exactly young, but
But he
Both
was
halves
93.
of Darth Vader are gone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I can
Well,
watch Conan the Barbarian
two-thirds
now.
of Darth Vader are gone.
Well,
What's the other third?
eh,
Hayden Christensen.
Oh, okay, that's a good
Well,
point.
actually,
That's a
only
good point.
half because Jake Lloyd is still alive, I think, isn't he?
Okay, so
I mean,
of the four
technically, he
pieces
is
of Darth
technically
he
he's
doesn't
Vader.
want to
he's the
be
Darth Vader,
associated
right?
with that, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Hey, so yeah. So like, False Doom is gone, and the
Oh
dude that made like a
man.
lot of really good baseball movie, made a couple
Yeah,
really good baseball movies is gone, and that bums me out because I'm a big fan of baseball. But
I love the way in Field of Dream he says baseball. There's like an extra syllable in there. Like the S is its own syllable. I love it.
my son's a big he's tentatively a big sports fan, but he likes to watch like kids sports movies, and
Right.
we've
Oh, he
watched The
does.
Sandlot about
Oh,
1,000 times, which is a fantastic movie. But he's really good. Like, I love how excited and how into that role he is in that.
Yeah.
But I tell you what I've been watching a lot of lately, and that's Star Trek. And
oh, nice.
man, I love Star Trek. But I started watching Deep Space Nine again, which I love, which
Oh,
might
so
be the
good.
best Star Trek series. Might be
Agree.
tied with Strange New Worlds and also The Next Generation for the best Star Trek series.
Right.
But I've been thinking a lot about what was the coolest physical transformation in Star Trek? Was it when Riker grew a beard in season 2 of Next Generation and became a Doobie Brother? Or was it when Sisko became Stone Cold Steve Austin in the second season of Deep Space Nine?
100%
Those
Cisco.
are both great.
Because Riker was terrible before he had the beard. He was
Yeah.
awful.
Right.
And that show wasn't very good in that first season. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. So,
Man, Cisco, when he grew a beard and shaved the head, became Shaft, the space station captain. Perfect.
Yeah.
He just
because he was
became good.
different. He was totally
Yeah.
different at that point. He basically went back to being like Hawk from Spencer for Hire.
100%.
Yes.
He became
also,
much more stern.
He
Yeah.
did. He really did.
he just like okay, the thing about him, the actor is a stage actor. You can see the way he moves around in the show. He's a stage actor. He's very big movements, very, I don't know. He doesn't pull things in really tight. You can just tell he's a stage actor. But when he shaves the head and grows the goatee, man, you just don't care anymore. He just looks cool no matter what he does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So totally. I mean, Riker, he was much better with the beard. That whole first season was really awkward.
Well, a lot of the problem with that first season too is that I don't know that they really knew what they wanted it to be, and so like Picard was just kind of like again, the whole show was a lot of stage actors, and so Picard was just walking around like shouting off all this like Shakespearean dialogue and delivery and stuff, and it was like there were some cool episodes, but man, there was some rough stuff in that first season, man.
Oh yeah, I really like watching the first season just because and this is something you don't get to do as much now because shows are sort of like fully formed before they come on. But used to, the first season of a show was like learning how to do a show.
Yeah.
And Star Trek The Next Generation is just a great example of that, because they didn't really know what, for the first 4 or 5 episodes, what data was, what the parameters were. They didn't really know who any of the characters were, and I think it's fun to watch them figure that out, even though some of the episodes are clunkers.
I would, yeah.
My wife's not. Go ahead.
Oh, I would say actually, the Next Generation became a different show when it, they had like the Borg cliffhanger. That's when it became a different show to me.
That was a good.
That was great. That was a great multi-part, in the season. But that's when it changed. It became, it started off kind of innocent. Data's makeup wasn't really that great a lot of times, and Riker needed a beard, and they had Troy walking around in a skirt. But after a while, man, that episode, that cliffhanger changed everything. It made the stakes really tough. And
my favorite thing, 100% favorite thing about the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation is to make it appear that it wasn't sexist that they put Troy in a short skirt. They would also put some dudes in a short skirt. I just loved that.
That's real progressive, man. That's real progressive. Yeah. I'd say the worst thing about that are those rough episodes. Are like, my wife doesn't like Star Trek. She's like, whatever, I don't care. But I'm like, no, there's really good episodes, and then but every time that she comes in and I'm watching one, it's always like that terrible first appearance of the Ferengi, and because that episode was trash. And
right.
It was like when I started watching The Witcher, and she was like, what is this? I was like, oh, it's The Witcher. She's like, what's that like? I was like, and for me, off the top of my head, I know this was a terrible way to go about this. I was like, it's kind of like Game of Thrones, because she loves Game of Thrones, and
right.
was the closest comparison I could come up with. I was like, that's kind of Game of Thrones. And she's like, but then the episode that she saw was the one with the dragon, that terrible CG dragon, and she's just looking at me like, nope. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey God, I actually had my wife, we watched the 1994 Crow, and it's such a good movie. I love it. I loved it still. But
we watched The Crow. Me and Sarah watched The Crow this weekend too.
Yeah, she goes, that was kind of cheesy. I'm like, what?
It was a guitar solo part. It was a guitar part on the roof.
Yeah, maybe. The things like don't always hold up, and maybe it's that moment in time. And there was this whole moment in time with the original series where original series of Star Trek. I loved the soft filter on the women. Every time. It's like they did the Vaseline lens or something like that, just to make it look a little weird and spacey and stuff. And I watched it was Mud's Women recently. And I say that because I came across something that I completely forgot about, which leads into this. Motormaster's voice actor is Roger Carmel. He is Harry Mudd. And yeah, he talks like this. Yeah, if you watch Harry Mudd in the original series and you look at like Motormaster, oh yeah, he's just doing a gravelly voice. He also, and this is a little, spoiler for season 3. One of my favorite characters of season 3 was Cyclonus. And that is him doing it with a gravelly, like Tom Waits thing going on. And it's great. It's Roger Carmel. He did a lot of stuff though. But he Harry Mudd, Harcourt Fenton Mudd is Motormaster.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's great, because one of the notes I took on this episode is that Motormaster's voice is great.
Yes.
He very much sounds like a trucker who turns into a truck.
It does. I love all their voices, honestly. Also, break down his done by Alan Oppenheimer, which is Skeletor, well, half of He-Man, honestly. So Alan Oppenheimer does breakdown of this too. There's a bunch of other
also from the movie Oppenheimer, I heard.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that was the last chapter of that movie.
Yeah, that I loved it when he goes,
work.
"You ninnies," on that movie. That was fantastic.
It's like, you know, there was never a final season of The Fugitive where they showed that he became a wrestler. So
that would have been really cool. Yeah, I wish they would have done that.
Say what?
I wish they would have done that.
I wish they would have done that too. That would be great, right?
Like he invented the mandible claw.
He did, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So also, Ratchet is a different voice actor as Wally Burr in this. I don't know. Wally Burr. He's like, who's the like voice director or something like the whole series?
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. I can jump in there. So yeah, it's like Ratchet says all off. That's just little, tidbit stuff behind the scenes.
So yeah,
but
the Masquerade.
The Masquerade.
Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know how else to get into this, but yeah, like Megatron's like, "Hey guys, I need you to go get 3 parts for me."
Dude, Starscream just calls him a fool right out of the gate. It's the second line of dialogue.
Starscream is on Megatron's butt the entire episode. He is the smartest guy in the room.
Well, I mean, definitely in this episode, he is.
Yeah, for this episode.
Usually the smartest guy in the room, as long as Soundwave isn't in the room. But yeah, he's just out of the gate. Is just like, you're a fool. You have no time for this. But so Megatron assigns the Stunticons to go on a mission, and I'm okay with this because like we've gotten a lot of combiners lately, and I'm a fan. Like I love the combiners. So
this one definitely starts off with, hey, we can do what Cobra does in the first act of an episode that takes them like 5 episodes. Oh, because it's 100% a G.I. Joe miniseries in the first part, where it's like, hey, we got to gather these 3 components and make something.
They're making the Pyramid of Darkness. You're right.
They are, yeah, totally.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great callback to that.
Yep.
And they're like, they go and, I don't know, break in a scientist's lab and take this lens thingy.
Well, no, back up here.
Okay, sure.
So the Stunticons like split up into 3 teams to get these 3 things that Megatron wants. And so like, couldn't they have gotten like some tapes to go hang out with these guys and help out so they could like not split up the guys that need to be together?
Dude, these are the jerks. No one wants to be around these guys.
They could have sent like Astro Train's a jerk. Nobody likes him. Blitz, nobody likes Blitzwing either. They could have sent nobody on the Decepticons likes anybody else. Those guys are the most functional bad guys of all time. But so they could have sent somebody to go out there. Like
they're just like there are 5 thugs.
Yeah, and that's I mean that's fine. But like, so there's a quick like insert and the arc here where like Ironhide doesn't even know that the Stunticons are the antagonists of this episode, but he's asking for a tune-up in case he has to fight the Stunticons.
Like, oh no, buddy, you're fine the way you are.
Also, you're a van.
Yeah.
How are you going to do stunts? You're a van.
You're a vanette. No one's expecting to do anything.
Oh man.
Oh, Maul Scratch, you can just give me a little upgrade. Yeah, and there's like banter going on in the arc, and that's when the Stunticons start going to these different locations, and I guess they're having Teletrain 1 track where the Stunticons are.
Yeah, they can just zero in like all the time. They've got the hero cam this time instead of the villain cam. But so they first go to the Republic Optics Company, which is just a place that has some reason they have their window wide open on the front with the telescope sticking out. I don't know what this guy's checking out the girls that work at the insurance place across the street.
Yeah, it's breaking down in Wild Rider. They bust in and once again, like, oh, those look like Autobots. There's no one driving.
This poor idiot, this absolute fool, just sees self-driving cars and is this the Autobots? What if he saw a Tesla? What if it was a Tesla and he was Autobots?
I mean, and again, for robots in disguise, the Autobots are really well known because everybody who sees this says the same thing. Oh, check it out! There's a car with no driver. Here comes the Autobots.
Yeah, but all these windows are tinted like purple and pink and blue and stuff, and like they just there's no driver in there. Like I've had cars that were tinted so dark that you couldn't see anything inside, and like you couldn't even see out.
Everything's fine, obviously, and we need like all the world leaders to send around a memo. Okay, this is an Autobot. This is a Decepticon. Know the symbols. No problem anymore. But they pull that trope again, like, oh, there could be Autobots, and then they bust in the wall.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're just not going to say anything. They're going to grab it and leave. Like, well, and I gotta imagine the guys are like, well, I don't think those are Autobots.
I don't think they were, buddy.
Yeah, doesn't seem like
might be onto something.
Very astute power of observation there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Oh my God. Why the Indianapolis car? What am I forgetting the name?
Is he Dead End? Is that Dead End?
Dead End's the Porsche.
Oh.
And then the yellow one. I'm a terrible Transformers fan. Okay, yeah. Those two show up into an army base again, and they just blow the way through and grab this generator, and they're cool, whatever.
Oh, that was like a construction. Yeah, it was like but like, so the foreman that's like running this crane is that they're moving this generator around with a crane, and this dude, like this real like manly 80s like macho manly dude with a mustache is like, careful men. Like this dude's real into saying the word men, like he's a big like Turbo Negro fan or something like that. Like he should be wearing a bunch of like denim and stuff, and like men, like these dudes are gonna do something.
Foreman.
Yeah, they're gonna do some manly stuff behind the scenes here, because
that's Dragster, by the way. That's his name.
The Decepticons are like, hey, soldier boys. Like these guys, there's some subtext going on here. I'm just saying. All right.
100%. My favorite things, because one of the things I think that we have gained, but is really a loss, is that you can just put adult things into cartoons now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas used to, they just like, that was the only joy these guys seemed to get, was to sneak little adult things in this. And like there's one point in this, let me see what it was, because there was one point where Megatron said something. What was it? Oh yeah, he said, he was talking about the docking tower, but I'm sure he said ducking tower for it to sound like some other sort of tower. And I was like, man, somebody just loved that. Somebody had the best time with ducking tower.
Oh, I'm sure that they had fun putting these like Tom of Finland guys in here, moving generators around and stuff too. Right. The whole village people are in here, like
right.
Okay, so
Motor Master shows up at a museum, just goes to the front door. They've got the biggest ruby in the world sitting in a glass case, like you're going to a jeweler store.
Right there.
Thanks, I'll take that.
I mean, one of the things I've noticed about the Transformers universe is there's some real high ceilings.
Yeah.
These guys just go into buildings and stand up all the time.
There's also a lot of jewels on display. If you got in cartoons, you ever seen a jewel on display anywhere? You ever see it? Like, I've never seen this. Like,
no.
But these heists are real anticlimactic, man. They're just like, oh yeah, we just got it, and that was it. Like these are like, it's like a 15-second heist.
I'm going back a few episodes. They should have sent Rumble. Rumble was way better at this.
And it would have been so much better too. It's like, hey
so
guys, give me that ruby.
I mean, is he better at it? Because these guys did it in 15 seconds.
Well, that's true. I guess what I mean by better is more entertaining.
Okay.
He just killed a race car driver for no reason.
and a guy driving a semi. So yeah, man, the Autobots like split up in 3 teams once again, just like the Syndicons, to go stop the different Syndicons showing up.
We got the safety bots.
Your favorite.
We got some nerds. We got that yellow fire truck, man. I hate
Grapple.
that guy. What's his name?
Grapple.
I was gonna ask about this. Why do both Grapple and Hoist have Frasier voices?
They do.
Like, I guess it's making up for, from the first batch, like both Ratchet and Wheeljack are real working class.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ratchet's like an old West doctor, and Wheeljack's just like a mechanic. Like he literally has the same voice as a mechanic. But I don't know why both of these guys had to be Frasier. Like I think one of them could have been Frasier to point out a difference.
Or not team them up all the time.
And not team them up all the time. That's also true.
They can both be Frasier, but don't put them on the team together every time they have to, do some safety stuff.
You only need one brainy Smurf. You only need one of those two guys.
Brainy Smurf.
And then Inferno is there to even them out.
Right.
Yeah, man, like they were having like all kinds of trouble shooting the Senecons, and then like Breakdown, which they went deep into Breakdown's tech spec, his original write-up. He like leaks stuff all the time. It was the whole thing where he starts leaking oil, and what was it? Is it Hoist shoots it, or is it Grapple shoots it and starts a fire?
Hold on. Yeah. These three geeks, their plan to stop him is they transform into robot mode and they stand in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
What does he do?
He'll stay on the road.
He becomes a metaphor for immigration and he just drives around them.
Put a wall up. Flip over it.
And then Inferno with the weakest trash talk of all time. The Autobots are terrible. They're historically terrible at trash talk. He says, a near miss deserves some near missiles. But then he shoots a laser beam at him. He doesn't even shoot missiles. And besides, a near missile for a near miss, wouldn't that be just miss? If it was a near missile, it wouldn't even.
He's not good at banter, man. Come on, he's a nerd.
He gets away. He's a safety bot. He's like the OG safety bot though. He's like the Gen 1 safety bot.
Yeah, well,
we're still in Gen 1, but like.
And who is it that shoots the oil and starts a fire?
It's Grapple.
It is Grapple, does it? Shoots a fire and like Breakdown catches on fire. He's like, oh no. And then like Inferno goes like, I'll hate myself later for this. And she puts him out.
Let him burn.
That is not good teamwork.
No, it's terrible. So, and besides, I mean, like Saving Private Ryan proved that the good guys can just let bad guys burn. Like, save the bullets, let them burn. Like, hey, I'm sorry, bro. Like, you shouldn't have been in the fire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. that's a whole other tangent. But so they're, I guess they're beaten there. They would seem kind of anticlimactic there too. So, but Dragstrip and Dead End are driving down the beach, and Warpath comes out and starts shooting them.
Warpath and Tracks.
Warpath and Tracks.
There's a tank and a Corvette driving on the beach.
A flying Corvette, Stingray. I love that. It's like a flying car. How droll.
Man, that's one of my favorite things too. It's like $20 words that they throw into kids shows to make kids feel like they're smarter than they are. Like when I was a kid, I would have been like, oh man, droll. That's a big word.
Then you would use it on the playground and everyone would be like, what are you talking about?
Right. How droll. Oh, let's beat this guy to death.
See, now you're the safety bot. You've got the Frasier voice now.
But I love Dead End. He's my favorite of the Syndicon, so I'm cool with this. And yeah, like they actually plan out how to take him out this time. Like Trax has this like gun that shoots darkness.
I don't know.
So yeah,
I mean, definitely this is an episode where everybody remembered their Bob Bodaski powers.
Yes,
their file card powers.
Yeah,
100%. They went through the text specs. Oh yeah, Trax has a darkness gun, which he legitimately does. It shoots darkness.
So we're gonna get Motormaster versus Optimus Prime. We're gonna get the battle of the rigs. Man, I'm real excited for this. And then they just play chicken and they crash into each other.
This is great. Like Spike's sitting on the Bumblebee's, a frunk, I guess, and he's holding blaster. Like he's sitting out there like he's on the street corner, getting around watching people break dance. And Optimus Prime does this whole thing, crashes into him, and there's this whole like gasp, what happened? Because the smoke's all up and going on, and it's like red smoke. I don't know.
Yeah,
I also think they have an on file of Spike screaming Optimus. It's like their Wilhelm scream. Anytime Optimus looks like he hurts, he doesn't have to say it again. They just bring it out of the vault.
Proudly.
But
Dude,
Yeah, I
Motormaster,
mean, it is a pretty cool act break. I mean, you're like, oh man, Optimus Prime just exploded. Except he did.
that's a good point. It was at the I think it was at a commercial break there or something. So when you come, you're like, oh, so when you come back, it's like, oh, what's going on? But I will report though that I think I updated like my browser and my ad block works on YouTube again, so I'm not getting an ad every like minute and a half, and that's very cool. So I didn't even get that, but man, Motormaster got straight up wrecked. Dude, this dude is like wheels are falling off. He can't even move. He doesn't even make any noises. He's totally destroyed. And I'm like,
purple windows.
I feel as bad for him as I've ever felt for any Transformer in this entire series. I'm like, he didn't deserve that. He's cool.
Well, what about when they go and punch through Dead End's like hood, like punches down through the ground and pulls it out?
Yeah, but I mean, this is like the leader of these guys, though. This is like one dude, and he's just like poor guy. He's just like totally, completely destroyed and wrecked, and just like laying on the road like that, man. It's like carnage. He's like just like nobody cares. Nobody cares about him.
Yeah, and there's no argument, but he's weaker. They were the same size. They were going the same velocity. He was just a wuss.
Yeah.
Exactly. Optimus Prime got up and was like, "Oh, I kind of got a headache, Spike."
They did what every time there's a new Transformer to show off, they're unstoppable. But by the time they get to the next episode, they're pretty stoppable. So they had their grace period.
Oh, well, I don't know, man, because there's times when like even when the first time they formed Devastator, they just kind of like punched him and knocked him apart.
Right.
He just kind of fell down. Anytime there's new Decepticons that they show up, that they're like, oh, these guys are new, and they come out and they're like, oh, they just get beat. But so at this point, I was kind of like, what's going on here? Because at this point in the show, in the episode, we're only like maybe a third of the way through this. But like the Autobots have defeated all of the Decepticons' plans here, and I'm like, what are we gonna do? Where are we going from here? And this is like they're just gonna hang out play baseball for.
Yeah, this whole plan to do all of this just to beat him up and put him in jail.
Right.
There's no mention of like doing anything else with this. And I think like Spike brings up Optimus Prime's like, hey, I got an idea. And
it was 100% Spike's idea, which I always hate. I hated it as a kid. I hate it as now. You have plenty of tactical advisors. Why are you listening to this kid dressed like a construction worker?
15-year-old kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing with that too is that like at this point, I mean, we're like 2 years into this show at this point,
right?
And like we're like 80 episodes in this show, and like everybody loves the Transformer. Everybody like loves the Autobots. Like you don't need that lens. You don't need the relatable character. The Autobots are relatable. I'd rather hang out with those guys than hang out with Spike.
Right. Yeah. You got the traveling Wilburys and the safety bots. I mean, yeah. But so yeah, they concoct this plan and they spray with like disguise paint that makes them look just like the Senecons.
We have robots in disguise. In disguise.
Right.
We must go deeper.
So many levels of Transformers here. This is great.
I mean, this is one of my favorite things about Transformers. In regard to them trying to take your money, because they will never acknowledge, in the media that two that are repaints look anything alike. Yeah. But they will totally acknowledge that a Lamborghini is also a Lamborghini if it's not a repaint, if it's a separate toy. And this was like 5 of those all at once.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah.
And they look really, I don't know, they look just like the Senecons. Weird how that works.
I also think it was a bummer that like Mirage doesn't even get a scene before he gets turned into it. He's just like, obviously I'm the race car because I'm the race car.
Obviously I'm Mirage. Well,
so they decided their plan is they're going to disguise themselves and they're going to take all the parts to the Decepticons.
Yeah, find out what they're doing with it.
Like what? Like you already
see what they're going to do with it, but if they just kept them,
They would
They
have won.
couldn't do it.
Right. It's like they had the prisoners and they had the stuff. They had the MacGuffins. Like,
This is
That's a funny thing
legitimately
you point out, because I was going to point out this was like towards the end that this is like what they say about Raiders of the Lost Ark, and that if you take Indiana Jones out of it, it's still the story turns out the same way. But actually, what you're saying is it's worse. It would have been a happier ending if they just stopped at that point. They just royal credits at that point.
exactly. I see. I hate that thing with.
Oh, I do too. I despise it.
That's internet talk, and I hate it. Like I
do too. Totally.
And I don't like when people say, because my counter to that also, or I use that as a counter because people like to poop on Prometheus and was the Alien whatever
Covenant?
which
Covenant.
one? Not the most recent Alien, but the one before that.
Yeah, Covenant.
I think.
Covenant. Yeah, Covenant. Okay, yeah. So, like, well, they're not acting like scientists. I'm like, bro, Indiana Jones does not act like an archaeologist at all, but it's the best movie of all time. So I don't want to hear this internet talk about movies. This is I don't like this at all.
Which
speaking of that, what's up?
Speaking of that, we actually just watched. I had her watch my wife watch Prometheus and Covenant, and I got a new respect for watching those again. It really plays well, and almost feels like Ridley Scott's almost trolling everyone. Like, yeah, you want Alien, you're not going to get Alien.
Well, I love Prometheus because it's like the anti-Avatar.
Oh yeah,
instead of Avatar's like touchy feely, I'm okay, you're okay, hippie logic. Its message is God is real and he hates you. I mean, that's a heavy message.
Yeah.
I can't finish Avatar. I've tried to watch Avatar I think 5 times, and I get about 20 minutes into it, and I just want to turn it off and watch Aliens every time I watch it.
I remember when our friend Tristan came to gaming night, he goes, "That is James Cameron's magnus opus," and I watched it.
It isn't.
It isn't. It's all right. If he actually had better terminology for the stuff like unobtainium.
That's my favorite bit in the whole movie.
It's so meta. I was like, well, it's hard to get. It's unobtainium.
True Lies is his magnum opus. Everybody knows that.
I mean, I was going to say T2, but True Lies is hard to argue.
Terminator 1 is better than Terminator 2. I'm sorry, man.
Some ways.
Terminator 1 is a much better movie than Terminator 2.
I don't know, man, because nobody ever jumps a Cibi truck into a ravine on Terminator 1.
Yeah, but
2, you could be mine.
Well, yeah, but it has the advantage of not having Edward Furlong in it.
That's true. Michael Biehn is
Michael Biehn. There you go.
I love Michael. Michael Biehn is the person who's been in the most hugely successful movies without himself ever becoming famous.
Yeah, that's
Aliens.
That's pretty accurate. That's
Anyways, back to this gem of an episode. Yeah, they just drive. Okay, and Laserbeak does this whole thing where he's like watching them come in and they're talking to each other in their regular voices. And I think it's like Windcharger's like, hey guys, maybe we should talk in our assumed names. And he pulls the whole like Wild Rider thing, like, yeah! And I don't know, it's like Sideswipe's like, hey, you shouldn't be playing that up so much.
Mm-hmm.
You're in disguise. You're trying to pretend you're someone else.
Right.
And this one's Starscream. They go down there and like Megatron shoots in the air. I guess it's a signal to go down. But Starscream immediately goes, they're driving awfully carefully for the sun.
He immediately gets it.
He does.
He's the smartest guy on the team right now. Everyone else is like, oh, obviously they're being Senecons. They're just being careful with their cargo.
So they show up here, like the in disguise Autobots show up at the Decepticons spot where they're doing something or another, their master plan they're doing here. And in my notes I wrote down, man, I really hate that the Autobots can't form Menasor here because that'd be really cool. And that's gonna come back and bite me in the butt here in a minute.
Really? But they arrive there and they're going through the process of like deliver the parts, and he's like, oh, of course we got everything, Megatron. Yeah. And back at the base, there's another breakdown power. He can apparently, according to the Bob Budiansky textbook that he has, he can vibrate so much to short things out. So apparently he just vibrates enough to shorts out the energon cell. And
there's a lot of vibration. Vibrating is the like the answer to like a lot of things in comics and in these sorts of things, because like I feel like the Flash is kind of based around vibrating real fast.
Yeah, 100%.
He wins way more battles with vibrating than he does actually running.
He does. Yeah, well, like that's in Spider-Man, like when he had the alien suit, that was the whole solution to alien suit was vibrations.
Right, you vibrate.
Yeah.
If he would have just fought the Shocker in that stretch, he would have been fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Old Quilty.
Old Quilty.
But yeah, there's I don't know. He goes out and shoots like the safety bots immediately. Shoots them all. They go down.
He takes them right now. But there's a weird scene here where like Ironhide and Ratchet, these guys come up, and they drew Ratchet like a third of the size as Ironhide, and he's right next to him. He comes up to his waist.
It's like some weird forced perspective that he just didn't think
it was
through.
perspective though.
In my notes, I have it as I didn't know that Ironhide had Pokemon Gigantamax powers. Because he's so huge in that scene. It's like, how did they take him out so easily? He was in his ultimate form.
Oh, yeah.
Man. So yeah, he shoots the cells, and apparently they all get repaired while they're sitting in jail. They all drive out.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're great. No problem at all. No broken windows.
Okay, one of the things, I think when watching kids' cartoons is I think when you're a kid, a plot hole is an opportunity. When we watch it now, you want the whole story to make sense. But when you're a kid, you would use your imagination to fill the plot holes. And
100%.
I remember as a kid specifically thinking on this episode, oh, well, Ratchet's such a nice guy. He must fix them.
I'd give you the no prize for that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Just like Inferno putting him out when they're on.
Right, exactly. I mean, like these guys have functions that they can't go against.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's definitely no prize territory.
So they form Menasor right out of the cage, and they just wreck. They're wrecking stuff. They wreck all these dudes. They punch a hole in the wall and just like fly out. And we had like Bumblebee and Spiker like, oh, what's all that noise?
Guys, what happened? Oh, you're all dead. Yeah.
What do we have in here?
Oh, but I love the part where I think it was Inferno set up and it's like, we're gonna be fine. Like, did you check everybody else, or did you decide that because you feel fine? Are you a narcissist?
He's the only one that matters, right? So
yeah, as long as you're okay, dude.
We go back to where the Decepticons are doing their master plan here, and so all this build up and stealing all these parts, and we find that they've done their master plan for this episode was they built the Howl from G.I. Joe, the heavy artillery laser, but they just painted it purple.
Well, it's obviously it's Decepticon metal. It's purple. It's like what about metal's orange? Yeah, that's pretty much. That's all they did, which really underutilized and very like under the radar cool vehicle for G.I. Joe.
Right.
Yeah, that was the first one I had when I was a kid, and it's real bad.
No, it
wasn't. Never mind. I'm thinking of a different thing. I'm thinking of the Flak, not the Howl. The Howl actually was kind of cool. The Flak was like a old defense gun thing. But anyways, the story unfolds a little more. And Megatron, says that this thing is so powerful that when it shoots something, it causes a chain reaction. And then his real master plan gets revealed when he's like, I'm gonna shoot the Autobot headquarters and make a parking lot out of
it. Hey,
go pave paradise.
It's essentially like an LA crime novel resolution. It's like it's a real estate scam. He's going to turn it into a parking lot and then, have it be a pay parking lot.
This is Yakuza. This is Yakuza Zero's plot, actually.
Right.
It was the empty lot. It was a parking lot. And they were going to they wanted to build a building on it. That's, oh my God.
Yeah, wow. Before that, though, Optimus Prime as Motormaster's like, oh, Megatron, what are we going to do with this? You forget already? It's like, oh, yeah, I hit a lot of things, and my memory's all messed up. And Starscream's like, huh. No one says Starscream.
We get some fun subtitles here. Someone says the Stunticons and then calls them the stunted cards. That was good. There's some better ones that are gonna come up. Oh no, right now. It's the part where Megatron and Starscream are arguing over whether or not they're who the real Stunticons are. So he commands the in disguise ones to form Menasor, to merge and become Menasor, but the subtitles say to become Minnesotans.
Which is the ultimate transformation if you think about it.
It really is.
Good on them. I mean this whole thing is weird because you're like, okay, how are they gonna do this? Well, obviously, Wind Charger's like, I'll just use my magnetic field and make a Menasor. Really, is that easy?
Well, I mean, I did like this because this is another one I'm talking about where everybody remembered Bob Budiansky's tech specs.
Yeah.
And they actually remembered one that they had ignored earlier, because earlier they made it that Mirage could just turn invisible. But he can also project holograms, and he projected the head in this. So I was into that.
That's pronounced holograms in the Transformers universe.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the things that they brought into the Rise of the Beast movie that people are all complaining about. Like, no, man, Mirage is like a displacer beast. He goes and just like he'll make like multiple Mirages, things that help throw people off. That's his whole bit. This is definitely a Budiansky moment here.
We get Menasor versus Minnesotans, and this is cool. I'm real excited for this. This is very cool because like I say, anytime combiners fight each other, but we get the mirror match here. We get both people pick Ryu this time. This is real cool. But like Megatron decides he's still not convinced who is who, and he's like, I'm just gonna shoot this laser at whoever loses.
Dude, if you have two Menasors, keep them both.
And my whole thing is, he really should have looked at his own record, because he's lost every time. So really, he should shoot the winner.
Right.
100%.
So I mean, so he's gonna blow up the real one if he loses, and then he's like, well, now he's got to deal with 5 Autobots who can also combine into a combiner, and also really, when you think about it, they really should have I guess they weren't like a true combiner though, so it's not really. I was about to say they should have done this again because this is like the most powerful version of this, but
I mean, it was just at the end of the day, it was a silly episode. The reason for them to play around more with the Stunticons, which I'm cool with because they're fun. Yeah, so
Menasor had a blazing sword here.
Yes, he did.
A blazing sword, and they didn't even say anything about it.
Oh no, because it's a sword, man.
Does the toy come
it's not like a Voltron thing. It's not like a finishing move. It's just like, hey, it's my sword. The Autobots did not have a sword though.
Did the toy come with the sword?
Well, yeah. I mean, it wasn't that cool looking, but yeah. The original one, it was like just a chrome sword that looked like that, pretty much. So yeah, they just goes and hits them, and they fall apart, and they all of a sudden their paint wears off, and oh no, it's the Autobots. And Megatron's like, oh, perfect, I've got a gun right here. And I guess they've been listening to the generator on the gun power up and like overload for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Just, oh, by the way, this is what's happening with that. Okay, why not? At this point, they were just kind of they're just like, okay, we got to get out of here before the thing blows up. And it, I guess they left the Ruby there in the generator and everything else.
They booby trapped the Ruby.
Is that what it was? I missed that.
They booby trapped the Ruby, yeah, and so it blew up on Megatron, and then the Decepticons run off, and then somebody said I think Optimus Prime says I think they learned their lesson. They won't build another. I think he said another Menasor or something like that, but the subtitles picked it up and said, I doubt he'll build another Minnesota. And Minnesota's just getting all kinds of wrecked on in this episode. And then the Autobots just show up. The rest of the Autobots just show up.
Right.
Which is really uncalled for. I've been to Minnesota. It's a lovely place.
It is
kind of flat. Yeah, so whatever, man. Whatever the Megatron or the Stunticons thing about Minnesota, uncalled for. But yeah. I mean, that's kind of the episode. It's like, oh well, oh yeah, and I'm sorry. Menasors like, nope, too many Autobots showed up. I gotta leave.
Right.
That's right. I forgot all about that. Like Megatron's like, oh, Menasors, only 5 of them. You could take them, and like you see all the cavalcade come through here, and like, nope. He flies off, leaves Megatron and everyone there.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like he knows the score. He knows his record. I mean, he's got like a he's got like an 0-4 record at this point. Why is he gonna hang around and lose?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
The Aerobots weren't even in this.
Well, I mean, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, like, it's like Ric Flair, you know, like he's just gonna I'm just gonna take the count out and keep the belt. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you know, that's Masquerade. You know, for what it is.
So this was a cool episode, actually. I honestly I liked it a lot. I wish I felt like we were kind of teased with Devastor. I thought we were gonna get some Devastator versus something or another here, or like a combiner team up. I was hoping for that, but
that was the main thing I didn't mention about this episode, is that what this episode proves is that the Constructicons have a union.
Yeah, they were on break. Yeah,
they did their work and now they were done. You know, it's like, we're not going to build this thing and fight. Menasor can handle that.
One or the other with the
sorry, going to pay the union fees. It's like, nope, we gotta go.
So Kid Brain would have really liked this, but I would have been really mad that I like, because there's no way that you would have wanted to recreate the battle at the end, but there's no way that in the 80s, you know, you could barely convince, you know, your mom and dad to get you the whole, like all 5 of the combiner of the robots for the combiner, you know, unless you guys against that, right? But so you know, you had like that deal where you go to the store and you get like one dude, you know, so like for like 3 or 4 months, you know, you were like combining like a body and then like one leg for a little while, you know. So like, but there's no way that you could have talked them into getting you 2 sets of Senticons so that you could recreate this battle. So like, you would have done that weird thing where you were like holding some dudes together, you know. You would have had like, you know, you were holding like a couple of guys on top of this prime, like you were making like a fake Menasor. So you basically, you couldn't have like faithfully recreated this battle, and that would have made me real mad. Or you would have, if you were lucky enough to have all of the Asonicons and all of like the aerial bots, you could have just like said that you know, Superion was the other thing. But who wants the aerial bots anyway? So
not me.
So yeah. So I'm gonna have to go. So Kid Brain, like I said, was real excited about it. I'm gonna go for Minneapolis, Minnesota Lakers out of 5. Adult Brain liked it, but I hated that we didn't get more combiner. I was like, man, I really wanted to see Devastator do some stuff in this. But this episode really, if you think about it, it had like all the elements of Transformers in it. You had like stuff about energy. You had heists. You had regular people doing stuff. You had all this stuff in it, but it gets dragged down for me a little bit by the safety bots who I genetically hate, and they always
genetically.
Drag down, oh yeah, it's coded into my DNA. That so I'll have to go. So I have to dock it a little bit of a half a point. So I'm gonna go 3.5 mid-series beard editions out of 5.
Well, last week, you know, I talked about my own trials and troubles of watching Transformers as a kid, whereas when Channel 15 stopped showing in the afternoon instead in the morning, I couldn't watch it when I got home from school, except for a Fort Walton station that sometimes came in on one small black and white TV in my house. And this is 100% an episode I remember watching on that TV. And so really, I mean, this is a very complex episode if you can't really see what's going on. You know, like there's disguises, but you not really seeing the disguises very well. But I still loved it as a kid. I thought it was a cool concept. And so Kid Brain would definitely give this one 4 12-inch black and white TVs. You know, I think this might be the first time I've saw it again since then. And I still really liked it. It had some really dumb spots, but I'm gonna give it an adult brain. 3 G.I. Joe stolen MacGuffins.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it's a fun episode. I love any chance to have the Senecons do Knucklehead Senecon stuff, especially like Dead End. But no, listening to Roger Carmel do the voice of Menasor, Harry Mudd himself, was an added treat to this. Yeah, it was, yeah, like I said, it was just dumb MacGuffin stuff, and it was fun. That wasn't a bad episode. We've had those. It was just, it was a very self-contained. I don't know. We're gonna build a big super heavy weapon that's gonna blow up by the end of the episode. Cool. All right, roll credits. But yeah, honestly, I enjoyed it. It was like, I will give it. Let's see. I will give it 3. Yeah, I will give it 3 safety bots out of 5 on this one. Yeah. And just because I know you hate the safety bot so much. But yeah, wasn't bad. But next week is finally we're gonna get to the Trans Europe Express.
Oh, right on.
Yes, finally.
This one's my jam.
Yep.
I'm real excited for that. This is the first episode we've had named after a Kraftwerk song, and I'm real excited for German Menasors in this one. And I know I'm going to be disappointed, but hey, but something I never thought of. Something I never thought of is how not cool this show would look in black and white. Like, yes. I think it would lose a lot because it's a very like bright and like colorful show. There's a lot of colors coming at you. And I think it would lose a lot in black and white.
Definitely, a lot of these characters are heavily identifiable by their bright color scheme, so it can be harder to follow.
Yeah, no, exactly. What about like Sideswipe and Sunstreaker? Like they would just like, so you just see 2 Lamborghinis right now on the road.
One has Aaron takes the other one doesn't. Come on.
I mean, that's probably why I first noticed the difference between Ratchet's V and Ironhide's Mohawk is because they look identical in black and white.
Honestly, if you look at enough of the comics, you have to figure out the shapes of everyone, because Yom Tov is a terrible colorist, and man, he is awful. And like he'll do someone. There's a cover where like I think it's Bruticus is swinging a train at someone else, and he's all blue and the other one's all red. There's no colors. It's just red and blue.
I'm real mad about you talking trash about Nel Yom Tov, by the way. That's messed up.
Nel Yom Tov was one of the first comic book creator names I ever learned.
Same. There was a joke. There was a joke in a letters column one time where they were giving everybody nicknames that worked on that issue, and it was like Bob, the man Harris, and John Byrne, but it was like, Nell, why does my name sound like something from Star Blazers Yom Tov? I was like, oh wow, it does sound like that.
Yeah, they did a lot of that actually. So yeah, like in the Machine Man comics and the UK comics we've been going through with Boo. There's a lot of that. There's like Budiansky and that's not Budiansky. It's Simon Furman and Yom Tov are messing with editors and stuff, and just back and forth as this banter going on, and it's just kind of silly. But dude, I'm sorry. Yom Tov's coloring on Machine Man, also the Transformers comic, dude.
Well, Nel Yom Tov was also probably doing colors on like 25 different books every month. At that point, and also like coloring then and coloring now are not the same thing. Like now, everything is like computer colored these days, and it's real easy to just go in, zoom in on the thing, and then do a fill or whatever. Back then, it was like, but they were like hand cutting out colored Zipatone and like pasting it down onto
right. Yeah, I get that. And there's some comics separations. Some of the issues they do really well with it, and then you see some like they were going against a deadline.
You want to see some really bad coloring though that I hate is the Dark Horse Star Wars comics. Like if you're like Dark Empire, where like everything on one page is like 3 shades of blue, and then
it was like a weird watercolor thing that they just used one watercolor.
Yeah, I didn't. Also, it's very bad, but
it's like painted comics where they ran out of paint.
Yeah, it's
Well,
pretty accurate. So
you'll see something really
All right,
bad
well-
actually. IDW had a G.I. Joe Transformers issues, and it was I think it was Jay Lee was doing it, and there is so much like fog and so much dust or something, and every so often you see like a part of someone, and you see like the Baroness, like her head sticking out. There's
Well,
so much like fog of war just cover up.
spoiler, it's because Jay Lee can't draw and
Probably.
and does that to cover up the fact that he can't draw hands and feet.
Well,
So-
I mean, it also could be that one, like one of those John Byrne deadline things, like that Alpha Flight issue where he had like 4 pages of just white space that he wrote off his Snowbird's power. Like it's awesome. There's literally just 4 pages of white panels and dialogue in them because he ran out of time because he was drawing like 4 books.
He was doing a bunch of books at that point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. All right,
All right,
y'all.
well, let's call it. And I guess
Great.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go watch something on black and white TV.
No,
and-
enjoy that. I'm gonna go
Probably
have
soon.
dinner. Y'all
All
take it easy. See y'all next week. Thanks for being here, everyone. And join up in the Discord. Follow us. Email us. Yell at Ed about stuff. Besides, he hits spam on his email now, not just not anyone talking about stuff. So definitely, y'all take it easy.
Roll out.
Later, guys.
More of the Mises Guys is performed by Evan Johns and Ed Strickland. Research is performed by Evan Johns, Ed Strickland, and with special research done by Boo of the AxelonUnderground.net. All used images in the videos are property of Sunbow, Hasbro, Paramount, or Marvel. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in every week with us. We appreciate it.